Heyo, this is Deep, and I wanted to make a quick video about the 6th Walpurgisnacht, which, as you might know, happened around 45 days ago. Yeah, it's been a while, but I wanted to do something with this event, because it was something that I was really waiting for. You might remember, I had, it was like 1 gem? 0 gems for Queen of Hatred Don Quixote, and surprisingly, I managed to do a total of 100 pulls, which is not too bad. But I managed to get drum roll please, no characters, 0, nada. I know, right? I didn't reach pity, and that's what happens, I guess. But what did I manage to get? Because I actually did get some nice things. So I got Tiferet, which is the announcer, and you saw it as an announcer as well. Pretty good, honestly, pretty good in my opinion. I like him. They just managed to yap a lot, right? They talk so much. I'm doing the weekly, they are still talking after I've done the mission. After I've completed the level, after I've completed the final boss, they're still just talking. It's impressive. But they're characters I like, so you live with it. What's impressive to me is that I also managed to get the Queen of Hatred ego for Don Quixote. But it's really not that useful when you just don't have the character. If I don't have the character, then there's not much I can do with it. And that's so sad because I really wanted them. Knight of Despair Rodion is super cool. And Queen of Hatred Don Quixote, I would have used even if, I don't think she's the best, but I would totally use it. But, that's life, I guess. And I did my pulls and didn't get her. So sad. I did manage to get everyone else, which is nice, had a bunch of shards saved up. But I really only cared about, Magic Bullet Altus and Regret Faust, because I'm currently making a Burn and Tremor team. The main focus of this team is, of course, the really cool, the Femme Mersol. And I mean, the moment I saw him, I knew I had to make a team around him, right? Because, damn. But, it's just not there yet. It's not a bad team, don't get me wrong. It's still a work in progress for sure, but it's showing its potential. It's just, it needs more characters that are around Burn and Tremor, because I'm not even sure if it's that good of a combination, to be honest. Again, I just do it because he looks cool. That's alright. I have the characters now, so that's something I can use. I do think that mostly what it's missing is new characters for Burn and Tremor, but I also think that the Tremor characters I have just maybe aren't the best. I like Faust, but is Ishmael really doing anything here? She's a good tank and a good character, but I think that's better for Tremor-focused teams, right? And in terms of Burn, Yi Sang is super cool. He does so much. But definitely somebody else would be better. And I also need to level up the rest of the team, because the rest are 2 stars, and they're not gonna do much if it needs to be. For 6 people, I guess it works fine, but it still needs so much work. Maybe, and this is a bit of speculation, but maybe once the next season comes out for Ryoshu, right? It's gonna be Burn focused, I'm pretty sure. And then we'll have the best characters for this team. And maybe a few more Burn Tremor as well. I also managed to get, a couple of free stars I didn't have, which is nice. Nothing from Walpurgis, but whatever. Happened to the best of us. And now I just gotta say, the fight against Knight of Despair was also super cool. AOD was a really tough, but actually really fun fight. And not something I do in the weekly, let me tell you. Not something I do in the weekly. Way too hard for that. The swords that she pulls around and she maneuvers can get really annoying, but they're also mechanically interesting and make it so that you're constantly thinking about what you have to do. I'm not gonna say the fight is amazingly difficult. There's hard fights, there's easy fights. This one's definitely in between. It's not something I'd go for. I like the event overall. I think the story, whenever they move it with lobotomy or with library, in this case it was lobotomy, I find it interesting, and I think it's just something that really helps the game out. Because I mean, I know not everyone has played it, but lobotomy is annoying. You don't get me wrong, super difficult, but also super fun to play. And the story is really fun. Not in a happy-go-lucky way, you know, like in a way. Like in a, oh boy, that's something I just saw way. And the library, though I haven't finished it yet, I'm almost there, haven't finished it though, is also super interesting and super fun, and a good continuation of lobotomy. I think they do have another game, but I'm not sure, so that's not a problem. The event also gave out a lot of rewards, which is nice. You know, always nice to have rewards. And I like doing the event multiple times, even though it gets a bit repetitive, just because it did have its own challenge. And that's okay, you know? I have to say, one of the things I really don't like in these fights, if you lose the first clash in any of the Night of Despair fights, you're done. You're done, right? It's a repeat, almost certainly. In this case, I did this event with my bleed team, because I didn't have my Rupture team yet. Right now, we have Hong Lu as an end ID for Rupture, and he's super cool, don't get me wrong, but I didn't have him back then. And so this is just not a team I could use. My bleed team is, of course, still missing a character, and so it does make it a bit more difficult because it's not complete yet, but it's, you know, it's a good team still. And they managed to sort of go through with it. I think a good sinking team would have been pretty good as well, you know, with Night of Despair Rodion, but at the same time, most teams can get this pretty done. So, not a problem. I didn't manage to do all the event missions, which is unfortunate, but I did majority of them, you know, the ones that did gems and they gave you boxes, those are the most important ones, right? So, that was done. Also, and it's something I hadn't been here before because, of course you don't know this, but this is my first Walpurgisnacht, and so I had none of the characters, which is why I spent so long getting all of them this time. I had a ton of shards saved up, and I also didn't know that they immediately added the fight to the weekly, which was super fun to see after, because I was just walking around, and all of a sudden, bam, there's Night of Despair. Not that I did it, you know, not that I did it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. I know it was super late, but at the same time, time I got. And if you want to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.